What's up? What's up? Oh, child, are we on live, child? Yes, we are. Hey, what's up? What's going on? I'm your host, Darren Green, and we're back with another episode of the Darren Green Show. How are you, Derek?
I'm doing well. I can't complain. Thank you for asking. I am. It's Friday.
Mhm.
It's another Friday. Actually, this week went by really fast, but it was so jam packed. Like I just finished the fellowship, one of the fellowships that I was a part of, and so I'm glad that's off my plate. Well, not really off my plate. I still have to send in my story. So I'm doing a expose or I'm doing a profile on someone in our community. And then just been trying to get everything set up for Newark Pride. Of course, we're getting closer. We are 10 days away from the kickoff of Newark Pride 2021. So that's been keeping me kind of busy. My boyfriend is hosting an oyster party tonight. So if you hear some blending in the background or commotion, we're probably just getting ready for the party. So yeah, that's it. What's been going on with you?
What's been going on with me, child? I took it easy this week. I only worked 2 days and was working on some other stuff. It's a regular week for me. I don't do much, child. I mean, it was a little bit of drama though with my college friends or ex college friends or whatever. Yeah, it's when I tell you I love my college to death. I love NJCU, but I'm sorry, the students is fake as hell. I'm not gonna hold you.
Get kicked off the island there?
Well, I think somebody kicked me off his own island. He kicked everybody off his island, but yeah, it's giving very much child be gone. I ain't got time for the mess. But yeah, that's what happened this week. We got people, they weird when they sit there and they block you and unblock you, so it looks like y'all both unfollow each other, but it's all good. That's besides the point. He ain't got nothing to do with this. But anyway, yeah, that's what. Yeah, I mean, I'm good.
Well, people come, people go. They always say that friends are, sometimes seasonal, and you just have to, accept for their season, take the lessons you learned from them, and move on. There are 8 billion people in the world. 8 billion.
Okay, 8 billion.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, but other than that, the week's been good, right?
Yeah, the week's been fine. I mean, I ain't let that. You already know. I always bounce back, child. I make new friends. I lose some, make some more, child. Lose some again, make some more again, child. It don't even matter.
Yeah, you're the story of your life.
Right. Anyway, please be sure to hit that subscribe button if you are listening to us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your podcast. If you're on YouTube, give us a like and a comment, please. And also subscribe to the Patreon for $2 a month. You'll get access to ad-free viewing and more. I have another announcement too that I didn't really put on the notes. We'll be doing after this episode, we will be doing a 2-week hiatus. I'm sorry I did not let you know beforehand. Yeah, we gotta do a 2-week break. I mean, you doing the stuff for Newark Pride anyway. It's happening in the first couple weeks, right, of this month.
It starts on the 12th and it ends on Sunday, July 18th. So Thank you for giving me a vacation, honey.
Right, because they'll say I'll never give you vacations, honey. Let's say I'll never give you breaks, honey.
I'm gonna have to call HR. Okay,
it's not HR.
When I get ready to go, I'm like, listen, I'll take my laptop anywhere. Then we do a show when I was in Miami. It was like,
right. I was like, look,
I got my ring light and got my mic. Okay, the dog can be there.
So let me see. Let me look at the calendar when we're gonna come back. We're gonna come back on the 23rd. Okay. So I'm doing this because first of all, I want to get all my equipment together because I need that.
Okay.
I did an interview last Monday and it just came out horrible, and I would have had it perfect if I had my mixer. So I need to wait until I save enough money to get that, and then we'll come back and it'll be better than ever or whatever. I'm even debating if I even want to do live shows anymore, to be honest. So I'm looking into doing pre-shows. That's still kind of like this, but it won't be live. You get what I'm saying? Okay. We'll talk. Yeah, I'll include you in. I know I didn't talk about it before we got to
recorded shows and then edit and then post. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, but it's gonna still be like this. It'll still be virtual. Yeah. But there's other
more production and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. I see you.
I'm always trying to revamp the show and trying to make it more palatable. I'm just noticing numbers are good. It's not because the numbers is bad. I see you guys listening to every episode, but I just want to always evolve and try other things with the show. But anyway, let's get into hot topics.
Right.
What's going on with the Olympics? I want to get right into it because everybody was talking about it today.
Oh my God.
Well, first with Sha'Carri Richardson being kicked out because she had weed in her system, and then Alice Deering, the swimmer, who couldn't wear this special cap on her hair because we have 4C hair, and those caps that the other swimmers be wearing is not for us.
The elite, they said the elite swimmers don't need caps that big, and I'm just like, we know what that means. This is passive aggressive institutional racism. I said it.
Yeah. And it's like it's no reason.
It's about to be legal in our country, and like within the next 2 years, like cannabis. First of all, when the last time you heard about somebody who's a smoker running faster? Okay, we would have slowed you down if anything else.
No, somebody on Facebook says she got weed lungs. Somebody put her in the Hall of Fame.
I mean, baby girl.
Look, it ain't. And then because first of all, I'm glad people cleared it up too, because originally people was like, oh, it could have been steroids, this, that, and the third. Like, no, we don't need to do that. Y'all do. Let's be clear.
It's so anticlimactic just being able to see her shine, and like this girl literally just broke a record.
Yeah.
But this is what happens. And it's funny because I want to watch how they handle her. Even like how they handle Michael Phelps was just like, she's an athlete, but we all know that these athletes become sports entertainers, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's like this girl who literally stole the nation's heart, and like she's just so free. She's herself. What we have come to know as being like ratchet and ghetto fabulous, she is now becoming the face of that particular sport. And I just think that that was too much. I was literally waiting on the cards to fall around her because I was like, this girl is so good. And she's just so anti everything that we are conditioned to think is palatable and acceptable. She was giving me so much FloJo. I don't know if you know who, like with the nails and the hair, and it's just like
the hair. And they hated that.
She is that girl. And I think I went on Twitter and I was like, you know what? Eventually, Black people will realize that we have more power in creating than we do in complying. I was like, okay, so after the Olympics, let's go ahead and try to organize this Juneteenth decathlon then.
Okay.
Let's get our own stuff popping. Let's bring our best athletes. Let's get our Black high schools involved, and let's build our own thing, build our own rules, and watch where the money comes.
Okay, now if I'm not mistaken, the Olympics is going to be in Tokyo this time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they already said they couldn't wear the BLM on their costumes or their uniforms or whatever. It's a lot of weird ass shady shit that's going on with the Olympics. Yeah, I would say that too. We should make our own Olympics, to be honest. And it really sucks that we still have to go through this, and it happened right after Juneteenth. Like we got this this positive thing had happened, and now these athletes have to deal with the bullshit that's going on. Right. I feel bad for both of these women.
Yeah, but now in regards to the swimming cap, like we know what that is. Really blatant. But with Sha'Carri, I also think that there is some form of personal responsibility because you know what you agreed to as the athlete. You knew what the standard was, or if you didn't, your coach should have told you what the standard was. So if she was smoking, I understand she lost her mom. She might have been trying to cope, whatever. But
people on Facebook were saying, she had
all she needs. Get a doctor to say you were using it for anxiety, child. You gotta get somebody.
Okay. Hello. And it's,
you know what I mean. So
the crazy part about the Alice, it's not like the cap was gonna enhance her swimming abilities, because it's I don't know. It's we talking in circles.
An attack on black hair. That's what that
was. It was an attack on black hair.
When they create policies about people not being able to wear afros and not being able to wear braids, it's the same thing. It's institutionalized racism. Call it what it is, and And there we have it. But times have changed. We just have to be more careful with, I won't say not getting excited about things, but it's like the hand that giveth can also taketh away. That's why we have to start giving ourselves opportunities. We have to start creating things for ourselves. Everything that we see has been done by us before. We just allow other people into it, and then they copied it and monetize it, and then now we are trying to be a part of that, so we can be, so we can feel part of the majority. When the reality is, like, Black and brown people are the majority on this planet. We can create our own shit.
Period.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. Period. Well, unlike Britney Spears, Bill Cosby is set free. They put he out. How you feel about that? You heard about it?
I did.
Let's get into it then. Let's get into it. Bill Cosby was released from prison after Pennsylvania Supreme Court ruled that he did not receive a fair trial. The court issued an opinion to vacate Cosby's conviction after the legendary comedian appealed to court in December, when the lawyer argued that his entire life was put on trial, which caused him to suffer an unquantifiable prejudice. In a previous report, the Supreme Court agreed to review two aspects of the case. The first that involved the judge's decision to let the prosecutors call 5 other accusers, and the other was Cosby's argument that he had an agreement with a former prosecutor that he'd never be charged. So they let him go. And there's a lot of people, a lot of the accusers felt away.
Mm-hmm.
We're not gonna get into Miss Felicia, but we're gonna talk about.
Oh yes, we will. We're gonna get into all those.
Not yet. We still got to get on Cosby though, because that's a whole nother topic in itself.
you know, the thing about Bill Cosby is, and I feel like this is what people were struggling with. Okay, people could not separate Bill Cosby the person from Dr. Huxtable, and they couldn't. And I'm just like, listen, that's just like we talk about R. Kelly. Y'all need to understand that the Pied Piper, the king of R&B, and Robert Kelly, you've got to be able to separate the two. And for Bill Cosby, as a person who has admitted to drugging women, I just think that it's unfortunate. It's a very uncomfortable space to be in, because on one end, it's like, listen, if you're being tried for something that you did not do, then that's wrong. And we should celebrate there being justice. But at the same time, it's like, there were a lot of things that you've done that you got away with earlier. So I can't celebrate the fact that you're getting off now for something that you may or may not have done, because there were things, reports, people in the industry knew that you were out here, that this was part of your thing. It's part of your thing. There was a joke about the Cosby, like that was a drink joke in LA, so I don't think that I was celebrating. I think people, are falling into their feelings about compassion and stuff like that. And that, it's so long ago. Listen, and
then people were saying, oh, well, they, what about the accusers that took the plea?
What about the accusers that took the plea? What about
they took the money. They shouldn't have took. I'm like, first of all, that's not everybody that did that. And second of all, if they did, that's their own personal choice. Okay, they probably, and I always said it like this. I said, with people that go through type of stress like that, if they were raped, they probably would need the resources so they can go out and seek help. And it's not all about, trying to get his money and stuff like that. You obviously did the crime, though.
Right. So people who don't understand the American prison system or capitalism at all, everything is money. Everything. So either you're going to be in jail and we're going to be able to rake in money. Well, first of all, it costs money to keep people in jail. That's the first thing. You're paying for their housing, you're feeding them, you're clothing them, you're giving them maintenance. If they don't have health care. So you're providing health care to them, all the things, right? So it's a draining to the state and to federal, especially the federal prison. If a person who has amassed wealth can cut a check to get out of prison, you can say, okay, so if I go to jail for the sentence is 20 years, which means if I do good, I can get out in half the time. How much does it cost? How much would it cost to keep me? How much would I have to pay to not spend that time?
Right.
That is what prosecutors and defense lawyers discuss with the judges. That's how you get the fines and you get time served. How much is it going to cost? What is my debt to society? When we say the debt to society, I ain't just talking about you just sitting in a room and thinking about what you did for 15 years. No. What you did could have definitely caused an impact. Every human being is born with a Social Security card. We're expected to make $1 million as soon as we're born. Every child that's born in America is $1 million baby. That is your lifetime. That's what you are expected to accrue. So when you cause damage to an asset to the country, there is a fee. How much is it worth? So I'm not surprised. I'm pretty sure that his attorney worked out an amazing deal before this was announced. I'm sure that for the next few years, Bill Cosby, and if he does have any money left, will be spending it up in a lot of philanthropic work beforehand. Because think about it, if you are the person, I told them to my friend too. I was like, they were like, Bill Cosby has donated so much money to education and donated blah blah blah. I was like, well, yeah, if I was a millionaire that could possibly go to jail at any moment for drugging and raping women, I'm pretty sure I would be giving out money as well. It's called damage control. I'm not saying that's what he did it for. He very well could have done it out of the goodness of his heart.
Sure.
So, when you're a person that needs protection and you have to pay for it. So, so congratulations to the people that are happy that he got out. And I am so sorry to those women.
Yeah. It's bad. And then we got people like Felicia Rashad, who made. Oh, did you just say fuck? Who said that?
I said I love her. I love Felicia Rashad.
Well, I mean, she made that statement on Instagram where she said a miscarriage of justice corrected or whatever. I'm like, honey, what? Come on, auntie.
Well, like I said earlier, for this particular case, he may be right that his whole life was put on trial, not just these allegations. But when these allegations came, it took a turn and it became a whole different thing. Whole life and whole career became part of the case when it was like we're supposed to be focused on this thing. This is the accusation. Can you prove this thing? Not all this other shit. Not all this other stuff in the cloud. Not all this other stuff in the court of public opinion. Public opinion can have the ability to influence how these things go, especially if you have a grand jury or if you have a jury that has access to phones. It can play a part in how these things turn out. So that it very well could have been a miscarriage of justice for him to have been, sentenced guilty based off of public opinion and not off the facts or, the prosecutors being able to literally give, to close their case. So, but I mean, she's Felicia Rashad, and I'll say this too because on Viv came for her as well. I was like, not the Battle of the Moms.
Yeah, the Battle of the TV Moms. Okay, no, but she's the dean of fine arts in Howard. So it's like they made a statement. They're like they're not with that. It's looking real bad.
That's crazy. I ain't throwing my life away for no. See, I just hope that she doesn't have the same problem that Sharon Osbourne had. Like I understand it's good to stick up for your friends, but sometimes you just got to be. Well, she did what was right for her. I'm not gonna say that. I'm like, sometimes you got to support people in private, but that's not true.
Right.
That's your friend, and there are different ways to show support. I just think that going on Twitter when you have your own brand to protect, risking that for the sake of someone else, that's a admirable relationship. That's an admirable friendship. I admire her for sticking her neck out in that way, and I just hope that it doesn't ruin the legacy that she has built for herself.
Yeah. And I think she's always been on the forefront of it. She's always been on his side throughout this whole situation. I mean, this is like almost a 5-year situation. Like
5 years. This has been going on since I was born. Okay.
Oh, well, see, well,
And that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what it's like. His
Mhm.
whole life has been on his whole life was brought into the trial. It's like we've been hearing these jokes forever about Bill
Mhm.
Cosby drugging women. You know what I mean? And it just so happened in the age of social media, a comedian made a joke one night and it went viral on Twitter, and it re-sparked an investigation, and then people spoke out, and I'm just like, that's the
Oh my God, that's who he. Oh, because they
that's the
just
power
talked
of
about
social
he trying to
media.
sue people. Oh, who was that comedian?
All right. What's his
Child.
name? Hold on.
Yeah, he was trying to find out who the comedian was, but that's crazy. I know he was definitely talking about well, his team, his lawyer, whatever, is definitely talking about suing parties that need to be sued or whatever in this whole situation. So I'm like, ooh, child.
Hannibal
You
Buress.
already you already know he tried to get Wendy back in the day because Wendy was like one of the only people when she was in radio that actually called him out on this situation, and he tried to get her fired. He cursed her out. I heard. Well, that's what she said. Yeah. Like, but anyway, speaking of
Well, he's
people,
at home now. He enjoyed his first night at home. He was eating pizza and chilling. That's what the report said at Fox News. So,
guess who else is chilling?
ooh.
The people that watch The View.
Wow.
Because, honey, Meghan McCain, not you left.
Woo!
Meghan McCain is gone. She's gone. Okay, so
She ain't gone yet, but she is leaving at the end of the season. That's at the end of July. So,
yeah, she talked about it last Thursday.
and can
Where
I
she
tell you
made it.
something real quick before we jump into this? The
What?
fact that you named this segment, Meghan McCain finally leaves The View.
Because here's my thing. She always seemed like, because I'm a View watcher. Like, I watched the View, like, even though I went there a couple of times, I used to watch the show religiously. That's when I didn't have like homework and podcasting to do, whatever. When I tell you all the Republican co-hosts that they have, because they have a token Republican that they have to combat with. I remember Jedediah Bila, the one that I just have right here, Elizabeth Hasselbeck. Even though she kind of got it in with what's her name? Forgot her name, but they didn't get too messy. I feel like Meghan, she just didn't seem like a right fit, like almost like Raven Simone. Like Raven Simone used to get into it with everybody too, and it'd be like, girl,
Raven Simone. Raven Simone was great for The View.
But she had her moments. She had her moments that I was like, girl, you shouldn't have said that.
But that's okay. But like even in conversation with if you had 5 friends who come from various backgrounds spanning 2 to 3 generations, you're gonna have differences of opinions. You're gonna have different perspectives, and part of The View is having women who have their view, their perspective. They push the dialogue, but they stand by their view.
Okay.
And for us as the viewers, we get a chance to gravitate towards the people and ideas that resonate with us, and it also gives us exposure to ideas that we may not, or we probably wouldn't have ever heard of, or a different side of it. So I think that when you're having conversation, it's always great to have varying opinions, depending on how open and receptive other people are in that. But I think that Meghan was great for the show. I think that there was a lot of
in the drama aspect, if you want to make moments and
right, but and I think she also said something about how the media portrayed the women from The View is that they were really be talking about some really important topics, but it will always get reduced down to the spats. It's like, okay, well, what were they talking about? Nobody cares. We just want to see Whoopi getting that ass. You know what I mean?
That's what it turned into, and I guess that's
more of it being entertainment as opposed for it being, real, informative, intellectual conversation. I still think that The View made a mistake when they became too political, but it did put them in a different space so that they're not in the same realm with The Real or the Chat. No, not the Chat, the Talk. So they kind of did elevate themselves into a more,
And see, I started watching when they before they. I wasn't even there when they wasn't doing political stuff. I came in when they were doing political stuff. I think that was around when Raven Simone kind of got into it, right? She was introduced in there. That's when I really started watching. But I remember there was a time back in the day before they did all that with Barbara Walters and stuff like that. But I think I don't know. I mean, there was. Look, I don't hate Meghan McCain. There's some times where she be getting them together because look, I consider myself an independent. Like I don't pick no parties because I feel like there's toxicity in each party.
Mm-hmm.
But like there were times where Meghan was getting in that ass, and I'm like, what are y'all doing? Like, come on. She's spot on. But then there's sometimes I'm like, girl, what you doing? Why would you ever think? Why would you say that? So I don't know. It's here. But you know what? People are trying to petition on Twitter that they want Tamar on, child.
If they bring Tamar to the View,
well,
I don't know. She's liberal. I can
okay, yeah, and not even just
they're gonna have to have somebody that
not even just that, but I don't want to. I don't know how you're
gonna mess around and brought Janine Pirro to the show, and I mean, like, Lord,
hell no.
So I'm like, you know what? Actually, I've had an amazing run here.
They put Candace Owens on. It's like, nah, no way.
Candace Owens. Listen, I despise that woman, but Candace Owens or Omarosa.
I'd rather want Omarosa.
The ratings would be through the roof.
But they don't. But Omarosa don't like them, and I don't think. Yeah, they don't like Omarosa. But Tamar. Here's my thing with Tamar though. I'm like, it's certain. And I'm not trying to come for her like intelligence or anything like that. But like, I feel like The View. You got to be like at a certain caliber of like to
right.
Because the conversations. Because even when Wendy Williams was on there as a guest, like Wendy Williams like to talk. She barely was talking. Like I'm like, yeah, because they talk about real issues and you do hot topics. Like
right.
Tamar, I see her doing that. Yeah, the hot topics type.
Right. So I mean, honestly, when Whoopi came, I mean, or even when Rosie O'Donnell, you look at some of the placements and you're like, well, that's not a person I would think would be well versed in politics. But it surprises you. You never know what other people are interested in, regardless of their, what realm of work they're in. Honey's a lawyer. Joy Behar has a career an author, but she has her viewpoints on politics and she's actively involved. Same with Whoopi. So if Tamar became, actively involved in the political scene, or even if they brought her on as someone that would cover the entertainment topics, or interviewed the other special guests or whatever, it would work. I'm always gonna cheer for Tamar to be.
I'm gonna give you a little Tamartian.
Yeah, I'm always gonna cheer for Tamar to continue to elevate and progress and to soak up as much light as she can. So if that's what's the word on the street, we'll see how it happens. But I also think that Tamar is in talks for another show. Mm-hmm. So we'll see.
And I like her. I like her podcast. I don't want because I feel like if she do a show, like she's probably not gonna do the podcast no more. And I like Under Construction. It's
or the podcast would become a show.
Okay, I'm cool with that. I like that.
Right, not bad. That'd be cool.
All right, let's
want her to bring Rhonda back. I want her to bring on Iyanla. Now that Iyanla's retired, I want to be like, hey, Rhonda.
I don't know why Iyanla left. Like, I'm so mad. Like,
this was her best season. Oh my god! Yeah. So, did you watch the last one, the last episode?
I haven't watched it yet.
It was so good. I'm gonna miss her, but she said she's going back to her ministry. So
she going back to her what?
Her ministry. She wants to go. She wants to do what she's doing, but she doesn't want to do it with the cameras because she feels like it may convolute the work and also the people that she's trying to help. So she's probably gonna do another tour, and then she's gonna go back to private practice.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna find her because I need. She need to.
She needs to fix like Iyanla, please fix my life, please.
Look, honey, all she gotta do is just like, come here, babe. I'm gonna start crying, child. I'm like, oh my god. I don't know. She just got that. She just got that spirit that she could just. I feel like I can talk to her. Anyway, let's move along. Let's get into news and music. BET Awards. Let's get right into it real quick. Did you watch it?
Yes, I did.
What you think?
I did. I don't know. It felt so different this year. Mm-hmm. I love Taraji P. Henson as the host. I feel like she brings like that. You know how Erykah Badu hosts the Soul Train Awards?
Yeah. Yeah.
And she's like, she imparts her personality into it, blah, blah, blah. Taraji is so freaking funny. And she's so herself. I loved her. It fit. Like
Yeah.
I was encouraged to be the host next year as well. Some of the performances were questionable, right? But it was the year of the woman. I loved seeing. I love the Queen Latifah tribute.
Okay.
Some things that it was nice. It was interesting. And of course, I was there cheering for the stallion. So it was a great show. I enjoyed it. Some people say that the virtual one last year was better.
Oh no. Okay.
Actually, I enjoyed the show. This was the first BET Awards that I was actually like, oh shit, this is commercial. Let me go pee and come back. I haven't had that feeling since Beyonce performed Deja Vu in 2006 at the 2006 BET Awards. I haven't had that like, oh, I need to watch to see what's next and what's coming.
Was that the same one where Monique hosted?
Yep, it was.
Yep. Same. Because that was a good one too. Like,
I haven't had that feeling since then.
No, but I will say this: I didn't like the show. I liked Lil Nas X's performance. I liked Taraji P. Henson as a host. Meg, okay. City Girls a little bit. That's it.
Oh, I was happy for them. I said, look at them moving and rapping it.
Look at them. Exactly. Everything else, I didn't like how, and I'm not, because when I say this, I have to say this. I'm not shaming no background dancers, anything like that. But it's the same thing. All these rappers get on stage. They got the booty shakers in the background. They just got the background dancers. It's the same thing. I like Tyler the Creator's performance was different. It had a theme. Okay, Lil Nas X performance, it was different. It had a theme. People was mad about the whole ending part, but I don't care. It was something different. Everybody was doing the same thing. I mean, the ratings was low. They said the lowest it ever been. So, it just was, to me, it just wasn't good. Then this whole thing that I have, because I was on TikTok and I said, I don't like how the awards, like they literally make it two lanes with BET Awards. You're either strictly R&B or you're strictly rap. Chloe and Haley didn't win anything. Doja Cat didn't win anything. Like,
was nominated? I didn't know she was nominated.
Doja Cat was nominated for a couple things. I think she was. Even if she wasn't nominated, because
she would have got best pop vocalist or best pop artist.
There is no pop category though.
Exactly.
And that's the problem. This is the beat. This is not the hip hop awards. This ain't the R&B awards. This is black entertainment. We need to stop keeping us in boxes.
They're gonna
have more variety.
They'll do a best country award too, a best black.
Yeah, we started country shit.
Okay, K. Michelle is coming, and there's another guy who does country music. And he's really dope. I cannot remember his name, but he's really dope. And so
black artists are more than R&B and rap.
Yeah, I was telling my boyfriend, I was like, you know what? I think that now that the world has started over and people are really in tune with their blackness, I was like, there are times when we do make fun of the BET Awards because it was given very, very much Chitlin Circuit, very much EBT Awards.
Not EBT.
Right. But now I think that we have an appreciation, or we're developing more of an appreciation for being recognized by our own people first. There's not this starvation for attention and needing to be appreciated by the majority. It's like, I don't need an award from these white people to know that I'm good, because my people, the people that the originators of the sound, the gatekeepers for real soul with music and entertainment, they appreciate the work that I'm doing, and it does mean more to me than for another group of people who really only focus on the capitalization of these crafts and these gifts. You're rewarding me because I was able to sell this amount of records. You're rewarding me because I was able to influence this amount of people. You're not really appreciating, or may not be appreciating, what it is that I'm offering based off of where it came from. Like when her did her speech, when she got best R&B artist, and that was an amazing category of beautiful black women who were talented. I mean, I don't think I haven't watched a BET award where they got beat out for an award. I don't think I've ever seen it. So that was a moment for me. I was like, oh, Beyonce's in this category. I know she ain't here, but category, I was like, yeah, her's gonna win that. And her won, and she was surprised. She was just as surprised as the rest of us were. But when she was talking about being a Black artist, being a Black R&B female artist, and what that meant to her, and I was like, wow, look at that. Hopefully that seed, is implanted in some of the younger Black artists who are, still independent and trying to make it and doing shows and clubs and things like that, dropping albums. And as they're on their journey, not to get lost in the sauce of wanting to be, everybody can't be a global icon. Everybody can't be Michael Jackson. Everybody can't be Diana Ross or Beyonce or Janet Jackson or Lil Nas, whatever. But being appreciated, being valued at home first. They say charity starts at home. Being appreciated by your people, it just hits different. So I was actually proud of the BET Awards this year. I was proud to see who took home trophies and who was nominated. And so it's making me excited about being at the 2022 awards. So I'm gonna be there. It's already been set in the air. So
okay.
I'll be there.
Which you gonna be there, or you gonna be
there?
Carpet?
We're gonna whatever God decides.
Okay.
But
we love to see another moment, honey. Another VMAs.
Oh, Jesus Christ! I can't believe that's been like 2 years ago almost.
I know. I feel like it's been like a couple months.
Time is slipping. Okay.
For real, and time has definitely got people acting crazy. You heard about Lil Kim? She want to do a versus with Nicki.
I saw that. She was very much Raven Simone. Who do you want to do it? Nicki. I was actually surprised by that. I'm like, damn, Nicki really just cannot mind. Like, Nicki Minaj could literally go to a desert island and not talk or not tweet, not post, not drop music, not do anything for months. This lady is gonna be brought up in almost every conversation. And it's crazy. What's crazy to me is I'm hoping that her mentioning Nicki is because she's in a place now where whether the issues are resolved or they got resolved behind the scene, or maybe Kim's not in her bag anymore. I hope that it wasn't just to creating this stir of this drama or like just calling her out, but it's just like, yes, Little Kim versus Nicki Minaj is exactly what we want to see. We want to see her. We want to see this versus so that on the Little Kim side that there can be a bold reminder of her trailblazer in female rap and about her bringing sexiness or bringing that femininity to the boys' game and spitting hard like Biggie. Even though he wrote most of her stuff, she did bring that to it. And then the quote unquote new school of a Nicki Minaj who was inspired by artists like Lil Kim and Missy Elliott, Lauryn Hill, and like took those things and she literally made it pop. And I think that was the difference, is that Nicki Minaj took those elements and she became a global icon from it. Like she made it popular. It wasn't just a US thing. Lil Kim ain't never did a world tour. Never. She's never done it. She's been in the game for 30 years, 20 years at this point, 25 years. She's never done it. Nicki Minaj is able to take those little pieces, including the things that she brings from herself, and make it popular for girls to be rapping about, having money, rapping about the cars they got, rapping about, fucking whoever they want, and, bragging about being the baddest bitch. Like, she was able to do that. And I think that if they did do a versus, I'm hoping that it would be more of a celebration, even though I know that the fan bases will not let that be. It will be the highest rated versus that. Little Kim, Nicki Minaj will be the highest viewed versus they've ever had.
Because they're gonna want to know what's gonna happen. They be like, oh, they're gonna sit there and
like
argue with it.
First of all, y'all not gonna put them in the same room. I just can't see that happen. I feel like, I don't know, bro. That might be a setup. Y'all not gonna
and Nicki got goons now, so it just might be it might be a shootout. Let me stop.
Right, her shooters make you dubstep.
The Queens versus Brooklyn. Okay, let me tell you, be catastrophic. I mean, I would love to see it.
And I also think that Nicki Minaj doesn't need to do a versus. Versus are for people or for artists whose careers are over.
Yeah.
So not like over or struggling. Like Versus, what happens is
Not you made it worse when you said we try to explain.
I did. I
You
didn't
said
even
over or struggling. Like, okay,
right.
well,
So
damn.
I mean, it's like, okay, well, when you watch who's doing a versus, they end up getting a playlist on Apple Music, so it helps like boost what they're doing. They make like when the Keisha Cole or when Trina's like, oh, I have a new song out that's just dropping tonight or tomorrow or this week, blah blah blah. What happens during the verses is you get that nostalgia, like, oh yeah, I do know that song. You're gonna go back to Spotify, you're gonna go back to Apple Music, you're gonna go stream it, listen to it because you have that nostalgia now, right? Nicki Minaj does not have to do that. Okay, people who listen to Nicki Minaj listen to Nicki Minaj every day. They listen.
Kim would have to wait a little bit longer.
You know what I mean? So it's like it's part of your soundtrack. Nicki Minaj is she's still relevant. She's still dropping new music. She's still, she has a documentary coming out. So we know that Nicki Minaj is still working. Most of the people that are doing verses aren't working girls. They're not working boys.
Yeah. You know what I mean? And I think Nicki I don't think she would agree to do this.
Absolutely not. If I was Nicki Minaj, I would have did just what Nicki did. And I would have right to Twitter and be like, can you imagine having to I would.
Yeah, I seen that. I was like, "Ooh, child." So that means y'all didn't have a sit down and talk about it. So
that's literally like Madonna getting on the fucking Grammy red carpet saying, "If you're gonna do a verse, who'd you, Lady Gaga?" I'm sorry, what? Or Ariana Grande. Do a verse with Ariana Grande. I'm like, man, I need you to just.
Please. You better do one with damn shit. Dang.
I'm like, do one with Cher. I'll be like, do one with Cher. Do that. Do that.
Not Cher. Oh my God.
Not Foxy and Lil' Kim, I don't want it. But I understand that Foxy don't have enough hits. But Lil' Kim don't have enough hits. Lil' Kim doesn't have enough hits to go against Nicki Minaj. Nicki Minaj could watch Lil' Kim with just her features. So it's like, this was dumb. This was a moment for press and attention.
That was a Remy moment.
Yeah, she has
Nicki
a book.
Was good.
Right. She has a book coming out. Her memoir drops in November. So, she's trying to sell barrettes from Prada now. So it was good. It was a good press move. It was a good marketing.
Say the queen name. Okay.
Say the queen name, you get some ill press.
And that's exactly what happened. Speaking of that, Jessie Boom.
Ooh.
Jessie. Well, she recounts a time where she heard people in Cardi's then team trying to take out Nicki to push up Cardi. Now I got a video, and this is gonna work this time. I promise.
Put it on.
Yeah. Where's it at? There you go.
I don't hear nothing she's saying.
You don't hear her?
Nope.
Why the hell? Every time I get on this, every time. Okay, let me just delete it. And technical difficulties as always, child. Oh, I can't hear you now.
Oh, because I muted myself. I muted myself so I could hear what she was saying. This is a video where Jessie was talking about the overtime. The time she overheard somebody from Cardi's team saying their whole goal was to Nicki.
Yeah.
Guys will never know their names that have been behind the demise of so many people's careers. Like, I'll give you an example, and this is me spilling tea. I'll never forget years ago, 4 years ago, I met someone that was on Cardi's team back in 2017. And they literally told me, like, this is something that was told to me, that, yeah, like, putting Cardi out, our goal was to knock Nicki out.
Ooh.
And that was the first time I heard that topic. Then not too long later, the whole Nicki and Cardi thing happened. And I remember just thinking to myself, like, so-and-so told me, like, this is what they were trying to do. And then you have these two women, guys will never know.
Look, let me tell you something. Crazy.
But I mean, it wasn't. She said she was spilling tea, but like, girl, that tea is like almost 4 years old.
I mean, we all suspected
that. For Jessie Wu, I mean, you're another artist, and I feel like she may or may not commit career suicide every time she talks, but like, I don't understand what the purpose of that was. Like, what is the point? Why do you think we care about that now? We knew what it was. We saw what it was. There were many accounts of what was happening in the industry that before Cardi, there was a Cardi B at Atlantic Records. It had already been reports about their team was looking to master the pink print. Like, But that happens at every label.
It's old news, and I think with her, it was.
Your goal is to. What is your goal? I want you to pop like this person. So what we do is we study this and we implement this into your craft, into your marketing, so that you can compete at this level. And to be no shade, I'm a Barb as well. But it was the same thing that Fendi did with Nicki Minaj. It was like, listen, there's a drought right now. No one's checking for Kim. She in jail. There's this lane that's open. There's a lot of girls that are trying to bubble under, blah, blah, blah. You've been touched by Wayne. You're managed by Diddy. You have to have something that's going to make you iconic. And what that means is if you're going to be the baddest bitch in here, you have to be the baddest bitch. What that means is these other girls, you have to make sure that you're the standard.
Yeah.
What that meant was, let me take what worked and let's add to it. So with Cardi's team, it was like, okay, well, what works? And let's add to it. Okay, well, we already know that the girl with the attitude works. We know that the girl with the big boobs and the snatch waist and the big butt, we know that works. We know that the girl spitting bars about money, cars, clothes, fucking sexually ambiguous lyrics, we know that works. If you listen to Cardi's first two mixtapes, you really hear her. You hear her Bronxness. You hear her hubris. You hear her. When it came time for her to do her debut album, it was like, okay, well, it is very clear that they're trying to make her Nicki adjacent. Just by the placement and the style of music they put on her first album.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like.
So I think with Jessie Woo also, I think with Jessie Woo, she did a double. It was a double entendre. Like she basically was like, "Oh, I'm gonna bring up this situation that involves Nicki and Cardi, get the Barbs talking," and it made it because she apparently she got a song after that. She was coming out with a damn song. My thing is this. Look, I put this on TikTok. I was talking about it, and it was so crazy how because I was a Barb on TikTok, bitch. The shit got 40,000 views. It got so many comments. It was like a whole Marvel MCU Avengers fight between Bardi Gang and Barbs in my comments. Like, it was crazy. I'm like, at the end of the day, and Cardi's response to everything, because, she responded. She said she had to go to the ER or whatever, dealing with, because he was going back and forth with Jessie Woo.
Yeah, she was stressed.
She was stressing out. I'm like, girl, why you got a guilty conscience, one? Because, if something was said that is not true, I know it's always the person that don't react is the one that's being lied on. Girl, you a hit dog a holler. You over here screaming and yelling. I was like, oh my! And first of all, she really didn't invoke you. She said your team, a team that you're not even with no more, and a team that you had a falling out with. So why are you even defending them anyway? Yeah, it's giving very much op vibes. Okay, and that's why I said on the TikTok, I said that's why Cardi make it really hard for me to fuck with her. She really does, because she tells on herself every time. I don't know, guys. Tell me what y'all think in the comments, but Cardi, child, and then now, child, everybody's attacking the Barbs. We got the kittens, the kitten cats, the kitty cats over here, the Doja Cat. They over here making Nicki post something about Planet Her because she paid homage. Why didn't you respond?
Well, she did, and it was great. It was beautiful. Beautiful.
Like,
I listened to that song today and I was like, that was cute. That was good. And I think that because when Doja first came out, or when she first signed with Atlantic Records, it was like, oh Lord, they're creating another industry plant who's here to try to finish the job that Cardi couldn't finish. And Doja from the gate,
two rappers.
Right. Doja from the gate made it very clear. It's like, wait a minute, I'm a Barb. She was like, wait, time out.
Atlantic was like, shit.
Right. She was like, wait a minute, I love Nicki Minaj. And I remember she would get on live. She's like, that is who I want to work with. That is who I aspire to be. Like she was very blatant about that and supportive. And didn't take anything away from any of the other girls, but she has always been, I think say that like with Asian Brad and stuff like that, have been part of the girls who give homage to Nicki and give her respect, and on the end of Cardi, where it was like, okay, well, I respect all these bitches. Like, oh, okay, well, all right.
Okay.
The deference, the amount of deference, that's what it's called. Deference. Like, even when I feel like Cardi's reactive. Cardi is reactive to what fans say about certain things. She gets reactive to what the conversation is, regardless of whether it's true or not. She reacts to the conversation. And people said that 2 years ago, that could be the detriment of her, because I mean, this is part of the job that you took. This is part of this is what you signed up for. People gonna talk shit every day about what it is you're doing, what you said, who you said it to, what you meant. They're gonna misconstrue things. They're gonna create, fabricate things. You don't have to address everything. Some shit you just let fly. But she doesn't do that. That's not part of her personality. And so when you have someone like Doja Cat, who is very talented, a versatile artist, who's passionate about her craft. I mean, the girl makes her own beats. She writes, she sings, she raps, she can dance. She's a classically trained dancer. So it's like she has it and she's doing it. And she's doing it in a way where you don't have to worry about her stepping on anybody's toes. She gives respect to the artist that she looks up to. She respects the Trinity. So I love her for that. Rihanna, Beyonce, and Nicki Minaj. So the girl has a good head on her shoulders. Right. She does things outside of, placating the racists. Other than that, Doja's solid. And I think I don't even hate for Cardi. I want Cardi to get to that space where she is less reactive and really focused.
You'll never get it. She always says she's gonna be the same person forever. Still gonna be the same person. So
good luck with that. But if she does that, there are going to be other female artists like a Megan Thee Stallion, like a blah blah, and there's room for everybody. There's room for more. Like, you're going to burn out because the only thing we're going to remember you for is your loving hip hop personality.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
All we're going to remember you for, the personality.
Exactly. And we ain't never going to get no. That album is done. She ain't never going to give you another album. But that's okay. Girl pregnant. She pregnant. She can't even tour. You never toured. You never toured the first time.
Well, we knew she was pregnant at the Grammys.
Well, I didn't know that, but
we talked about that on the show about the baby bump, about how she had the outfit. It literally came up to like right here.
Oh, well, see, I wasn't paying attention to Cardi. She was not on my radar. But anyway, it's given very much the least.
The fact that when WAP won, they only played Meg's verse.
Yeah, and I'm a freak. Okay.
I was like, BET is kind of shady a little bit.
Right. Okay, girl. Even when they had like the Baby and Meg perform at the same time, I was like, oh, child, okay. She was like, I'm not performing with that dude. Anyway.
All right. Well, I enjoyed the BET Awards. Can't wait to see it again next year. Jessie Woo's crazy. Good luck for her single.
We'll love to see it.
We'd love to see it. God bless everybody. So, we are so blessed to be in this space. You all who have been watching, you know that we have been covering Chasing Reality's latest addition to their franchise, Chasing LA. And a lot of you have been watching the show. I'm glad you put your eyeballs on it because we talk to them almost on a weekly basis. Today, we have the Queen Bee, okay, in the room with us on the Darren Green Show. And I'm talking about no one other than the Andre Hammonds. He's a Los Angeles-based fashion and lifestyle expert. He's had many television and media appearances under his belt. He's been on The Look, All Stars, which aired last summer. He's worked with Bravo TV's Dora Kimsley on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. He's worked with Deontay Wilder. He's a heavyweight boxing champion. And even Farrah Abraham from MTV's Teen Mom. Like I said, we're so excited to have him here with us today. Let's bring on the Andre Hammonds.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
Yes. Hi, Andre.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. Well, welcome to the Darren Green Show. What a time to be alive. So,
okay.
Right. We've been trying to get you to the show for the past 3 weeks. Okay.
All right.
But you know what that means? That means the girls are booked. Okay. They're working. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Busy.
And we love to see it. So you took reality TV by storm for your very first season of Chasing LA. You were you were the most volatile member of the
Volatile.
That's the word I said. You were the most
Oh my goodness.
You were the most
Child.
volatile member on the cast. And I say that because there was not an episode that went by that we didn't get to see who ran the girls. Okay. It was very who's in charge of the girls? Andre. Okay. So let's take it back a little bit. And I want you to give us kind of a synopsis of who you are as a person before we go into the, because she's a celebrity now, but where are you from? And, what inspired you to become a fashion stylist?
Originally, I'm from Tennessee. I like to just say Tennessee because I'm from a small town right outside of Memphis, and that's where I grew up and went to high school, my humble beginnings, I guess you could say. And then I went to college and I studied in Nashville, and I lived for a good time in Nashville as well. I moved to LA in 2014, somewhere in that time, 14, 15. And when I was in Tennessee, I had been working like as a model. I had local agencies that represented me. So I did like a lot of print work and a lot of commercial kind of work based there. And I knew I wanted to be in the entertainment industry to some capacity. I wasn't quite sure exactly what. I had a degree in fashion merchandising. I was working in retail. So I had kind of like a background already in fashion. I moved to LA. I met a fashion stylist. And then I just kind of started the process of interning, shadowing, assisting, to the point that I started to get clients and stuff of my own. I had people I was working with, different reality stars, so I kind of found myself being able to be in that behind the scenes space of reality and able to like pop in here and there. So I guess like a space like Chasing Reality, I had just been conditioning myself prior to arriving here.
Isn't that crazy how life works?
Yes.
Like
It really is.
yourself for when you're prepared, those opportunities that come to you, you can literally seamlessly walk into them.
Absolutely.
And unlike some of the other girls who I think not girls, let me probably maybe more. Unlike some of the other cast members, kind of like what Ian said last week when he was here, it's like, okay, well, you usually sell some lollipops, before you get on the show, and not okay, well, now let me try to sell some things. I take it that it was very clear that you are not one of the coming soon type of girls.
No.
So in the process of becoming part of Chasing Reality, I asked everyone this question. How did you become affiliated with the show? Did you audition for the show, or were you a friend of someone who was like, hey, we got this project going on? Like, how did you get involved with this particular circle of friends?
It's kind of a combination of both. I didn't really know anybody particularly, but I did follow Q on Instagram. So I really came to know about the franchise through him. I was like, what? It was like, honestly, like right around the time of quarantine, like he was posting something and I was like, what is this show he talking about? So I ended up going and watching it or whatever. Around the same time, I had just been on Claudia Jordan, Out Loud with Claudia Jordan on Fox Soul. And so he was like in town preparing to transition and move here. So he had reached out to me. And that's when I started kind of first having the dialogues about possibly coming onto the show. I kind of was always, I guess, slated to be a part of it in some capacity. I did go through some of the formalities of like having an interview and doing an application and stuff like that, but I kind of was just like already in the know.
Oh, very good.
Okay.
So did you play a role in like suggesting or recommending any of the other cast members that became members of your crew while you were there?
Actually, no. I really I talked to everybody. I talked to Q in the beginning, Q and the other producer that was a part of the project. But that was really about it. And they, I got the call that they would like to invite me to be on the show. And then I met everybody for the first time that night at the table.
Oh, wow.
Very good. So yeah, speaking of that first night, we've had I think about 7 cast members on the show at this point. Talking about that first night of you all not really knowing each other. And you were part of the explosion between you and
King Payne.
Right. Boop, 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 boop. Sorry, that's always gonna be stuck in my brain. So between you, the situation between you and King Payne kind of set the stage of what we were going to be expecting for the rest of the season. Is that something that is that something you were expecting that that night? Were you expecting for yourself to be presented in that light?
No, I didn't. I didn't expect it at all. I feel like it just kind of snowballed and became something like everything just started happening. Really, everything just started happening really, really fast. We were at the table, and of course, I definitely had, I would say I had a hand in, throwing out a little bit of shade and kind of looking for certain reactions. I think I was probably guilty of it. I would say King Payne was guilty of it. But I think what happened was that we both came across somebody who was ready to do it. You know what I'm saying? So then once that kind of was in play, it was like, okay, now it's happening. A lot of things, a lot of little sideline stuff was happening to kind of like add fuel to it, and then people did start building relationships. We did start hanging out outside of the cameras, so it really did. I think what people kind of maybe perceive is like, oh, it was forced and they had never really got to know each other. It was a lot of hanging out going on. Like if you think about, obviously D Hawkins and Jeremy had been hanging out, myself, and so it was a lot of hanging out going on amongst the group, but it just wasn't always captured.
Okay.
So with that, I think I stated it on the show before, after maybe the first couple episodes. Sorry, my dog's an attention whore. So there was something that happened on that show, on that episode, that was very off-putting to me. I am a fan of chasing reality brand, chasing Dallas, chasing Atlanta, all the things. I watched the lives afterwards. One of your cast members, confessional, where he was like, y'all both dark, y'all both ugly, y'all both this. I think that was Quan the Poet. It struck me in a way outside of some of the transphobic things that happened, and I know that you guys are probably exhausted about talking about that. When was it Hershey? I think when Hershey came on the show, he explained to us that Quan's expression of that in the confessional. No, Q actually said Quan's confessional, or him saying that in the confessional, was actually based off of things that you all were saying to each other. So now that we have one of you here, is that true? Are those the things that you all were saying to each other at the table, that you black or you dark or you ugly and things like that?
No, that's not true. And I think what happened was we were taking some deep digs at each other, and I think what people were saying were that we were both saying very nasty things. I think what happens is, I don't know if they get a little bit of amnesia, confusion, they can't particularly recall, so then when they go and say it outwardly, they make a few missteps, which that's totally fine, but I want to be clear, I never said it, and I feel like if that footage exists, I would just say, show it.
Right. I would love to see it.
I would love to see it, because I have no problem with, if I said that, to like acknowledge it, but to be quite clear and transparent with you, as I have stated in many other interviews, growing up at my complexion, do you think I haven't heard those types of slurs before?
Right.
So I know what my relationship and my experience is, so that's not something that I would outwardly say. Now, I might call you fat, I might call you ugly, I might say your hair nappy, I might say your mama is a trick, like whatever. But I'm not necessarily going to say that. You get what I'm saying? So I think what happened is I might have said some egregious things. However, that wasn't one of them.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for clarifying that. So moving on throughout the season, I was looking and hoping, and I said this to Jayla as well when she came, is I was looking forward to seeing resolution to a lot of the issues that came up. But it did appear that every episode, you were caught in drama. It kept, like you said, it not just snowballing that first night. It snowballed throughout the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it seemed as if, you kind of started being the role of like the bully, and I think it was more so because you were highly reactive. You were reactive, but in those moments, because you come off so aggressive, what I was watching, I just felt like, okay, well, I don't know if he's projecting or if he's reacting to something else that's happening here within the group.
Something that wasn't seen or shown.
Wasn't seen, or something that wasn't said, but we were looking and hoping for resolution for you, between you and King Payne. Now I know we have a couple more parts of the reunion but resolution between you and Jayla, just making sure there was clarity. what is the issue with you and King Payne? I feel like there was a competition for who was going to be the queen bee in the room. I know he's, you know, he wears his crown and his bubble jackets or whatever, but what is the gist of it? Because even now, watching the reunion or watching the finale, or rewatching the season, it's still not clear to me what is the issue between the two of you.
I think in terms of like the show and I guess maybe what you guys saw, and especially from my perspective, I didn't have a great issue with King Payne. There's really only two situations where we kind of had an exchange, and that was on the first night and then at the Love Hate party. I think the obvious thing was the first night that, you know, we had just got off to the bad start. I made the Missy Elliott joke. He made the Akon thing. We had discussed things and kind of like decided to move forward, but we hadn't done it on camera. So I think by the time that we got to the Love Hate mixer, I was a little off put just at his overall like energy and disposition and how he showed up to the event. To me, when he came, and I do understand, like when he came in, he heard the Missy Elliott song playing. He probably thought it was some type of shade, but I also feel like there was a point where he just wasn't really even willing to accept the apology or even hear what I was trying to say. And that's where my frustration stemmed from. I was just like, okay, like we can't keep going around this same argument over and over again, and we haven't even gotten the opportunity to get to know each other. So that's kind of where I was at with the whole thing. But then I think what happens is outside of the show, because now we watching the show air. So obviously everything is airing now. Mind you, the first night was in October. This is July. So that shit was like 9 months ago. And you constantly talking about it. At this point, again, you know the girls are forgetful. So they can't really recall how it went down. So now you out doing these interviews, telling the story wrong, spreading lies, making false narratives, and just talking too damn much. And now we got issues based off of the things that you are saying outside of the show. So then by the time we see each other at the reunion, what started off as, oh, this really ain't no big thing, has again snowballed into something because all of these other factors that now contribute to it all.
Okay, so that is definitely understandable. So another piece is when you're in reality TV and you're put on a cast of people that you really didn't know before you started working together, you have to deal with a lot of different personalities, and you come across as a person that has a type A personality, like you're an alpha in the room, right? So do you feel that there were moments looking back where you could have handled things a little differently? And I always say this too, because I have an alpha personality, A-type personality as well. Mm-hmm. And when I was younger, I was reactive to a lot of things. As I've gotten older and more into my brand and making my money and all those things, I realized like sometimes I would rather let you be the clown by yourself and just be a viewer of your circus. So were there times while you were taping that you feel that you could have just watched the circus and not been one of the clowns?
Well, I don't think I was a clown, so I do want to say that. In no circus, in or out, I wasn't a clown. I know, but I just want to. Whoa,
not a clown, but like being engaging in that way.
Right, being a part of the fray, getting into the fray. I don't regret getting into the fray because the reality of it is we are making a show. That's just really it. And I think I am a type A personality, but I also think I was surrounded by 9 other type A personalities. Maybe I would say Hershey is a type B personality, but for the most part, outside of Hershey, everybody got in the fray. So so my hands, I don't feel are any dirtier than anybody else's. What I can say is I think because I was definitely involved in a lot of it, what you saw was me interacting in a space where, number one, I was definitely had walls up. I was not the most comfortable, and you don't know what to expect. And when things start to take a turn, like it just, for instance, the drink situation, there is no world that I can imagine on or off screen that I would have handled that any differently. So I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to go into an interview. I'm not going to stand in my green screen and pretend like, especially for the viewers, that I am beneath making a mistake. I'm not going to say that everything that I did was accurate, but throwing a drink in my face, that's crossing the line. So from that point, there's nothing good that can come from this, especially if the party who did it is not even willing to acknowledge that they did something wrong. And the group has this wavering standard of what's right and what's wrong.
So what do you mean by the group has this wavering standard? Who made that?
Well, as we saw on the finale, when I got upset and stormed out, the whole conversation was that I should apologize to Jayla, essentially, and apologize to the group. Nobody was taking accountability that they showed up with attitudes, ready to engage one another negatively, i.e. Quan, i.e. Jeremy, i.e. King Payne. Everybody came with these negative energies. Fran and Alicia, everybody came to get with each other. So then we cannot be delusional and act like when I got upset that it just came out of the clear blue sky. Because people showed up with attitudes, they showed up disrespectful. So that's what I mean when I say wavering standard. I am not any more guilty than anybody else in this party. So the conversation cannot be, Andre, you did X, Y, and Z. It have to be, you know what? Well, this happened, and I played this role, and I feel like you did this.
So let me ask you this. So I report you as the queen bee of the group because I feel like that's the. While watching the season, you give very much Nene. I run the girls. Like, what is the little girl that has a meme when she was in timeout? Like, I run this classroom. Like, you bring that kind of energy to the group, whether it's good or bad. You know, it's great for television. I felt like in that moment, this is just me as a viewer and as a fan of the show. I looked at that intervention where they were trying to get you to apologize to Jayla, right? Or to say, you know what, if I said something or that, for whatever reason, because you can only take accountability for yourself, regardless of anybody else who's doing whatever they're doing. I apologize to you if what I did or said caused that type of reaction out of you. I don't regret what I said to you. I don't apologize for that, but I apologize if I had that kind of power over you, and I'll be more cognizant to not be in that space with you again. I feel like there was a space being presented to you of all the shit that has happened during the season, with you being one of the people that was in one of the very first altercations in the season. With you in the second episode when y'all did y'all, with there being a moment of vulnerability for you, where you were like, you know what, I'm working on myself, I'm just trying to like. So at that moment, you capture it. It's like, oh shit, we're about to watch Andre grow. Now, I will say this, a lot of things happened over the season and it got like, okay, well, they're going to fight every episode. But there were a few members of the cast where you all hooked us and we kind of were like, we're actually watching. Because that's what happens with reality TV. We're watching the season.
Right.
And we grow with you. I feel like in that moment, in the finale, that was the moment that was being graced to you.
To me, to have a kind of sort of a redeeming moment.
For you to be the person to say, you know what? Because I'm out here living my best life. I'm getting booked. I'm making I'm trying to show the girls how to live. You know, let me step into this space. That wasn't happening for King Payne or any other girls who were basically like B cast, because half of them I don't even know what they do. They don't really, they didn't really offer anything but mess. So it's like, we know that you're working. We know that you are building a brand. We see you doing a commercial. We see that you are actually chasing your dreams. And we're also seeing that when it comes to this particular group, you're having a hard time establishing yourself as the leader of it. That is what, when I watch it, I see you in that space. I see you occupying that space because that's part of your personality. So when that opportunity presented itself for you to be the leader, and if you watch it back, they were all coalescing around you, trying to encourage you to be the leader in that moment. Redeeming from the love and hate mixer, all those things. Your reaction to it was very telling to me that you may not be ready for that space. How, since watching it back, what would you have changed about that moment? If you could change anything, I know you say you don't regret anything, but what could you change, or what do you feel, what could have been done that would have encouraged you more to take up that particular mantle in that situation?
Well, this is the thing. And so at that particular time, we maybe were 2.5 weeks out from the love-hate mixer. So it wasn't like this great deal of time had occurred. And also, again, I believe that there's a moment when things happen that we can move forward, and then there's a moment where we start to further things. And I think that what happened was leading up to the finale scene, I felt like there were a furtherance. It was the Instagram post and, you know, videos of K Michelle having a drink thrown in her face, you know, directed towards me. So I feel like things like that don't set the tone for me to walk into a situation and to take the high road. At that point, I feel like now I have to meet you where you are, so to speak. I don't know that I would change anything because just at that time I was not in that space. What I can say is when you guys watch the reunion, I think you will get a different perspective and a different version of the conversation that could have been had at that moment. But at that time, I wasn't ready, and that's just what it is.
Very good. I'll just ask. The only reason I presented the question that way is because hopefully when you guys come back for season 2, what we'll be expecting is, regardless of what happens at the reunion, is that we're going to be expecting to see a more elevated version of Andre. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, and even though it's great for reality TV, I am no Imani Van Zant. But there is but there is a level of social responsibility that we have as queer creatives when we do take up space on these platforms to kind of to really show what life is like for us. Like, to be honest, like being in the scene, like sometimes there's some catty shit that happens. And sometimes you really do have to meet people where they are and remind them of why you occupy the space that you're occupying. So I totally get that. But I also think that when you have arrived to a certain level or to a certain space, when you're looking for the future or looking for further elevation, there's something that clicks in you that makes you react to things differently than you would before you got there. And so
absolutely,
as you all were taping, you were one of those people I was actually excited to see, like, oh, this is not going to, I said, how he started is not going to be how he finished, because I was watching how you were working. I was watching on Instagram, like how he finishes is not going to be how he ended, and you were going to be one of the success stories of the season. So just going into season 2, I'm just saying as a fan,
right? But you know, it's funny because I think you're gonna get that moment, and because we're not done yet. We're not done until the reunion. To the last part of the reunion is aired and done. We're not done. You see, and so that's why I feel okay. I understand what people see. Maybe you didn't get what you would have wanted from me when you wanted to get it, but I think you're still going to get that from me. And I think that during the season, I wasn't necessarily in that space, but in going forward, I mean, obviously I watch the show just like everybody else. I don't get to see it before everybody else. So I have a bigger picture now to referencing towards, but in those moments, I was just as active a participant as anybody else, you know, and that doesn't mean that it was right or it's wrong. But the good thing about reality TV is it's made for redemption. You know, it's made for people to see you make mistakes and for them to have their viewpoint and their stance on it, and for you to hopefully in the picture be able to redeem yourself. And because I'm aware of that, I'm going to redeem myself.
Good. That's what I like to hear. I like to hear that. I'm glad. See, you get it. That's what I'm saying. Like, you get it. So let's switch the pace. What was one of your favorite moments while taping Chasing Reality or Chasing LA? What was one of your favorite moments?
We had a lot of fun. Like when we weren't like going crazy, like we were having a lot of fun. I think for me, the most fun, or the thing that I was the most excited to share, was when I shot the commercial for my brands. Because my brand is still a new brand, Shop Him. We're only like a little bit over a year old. But making that milestone from like going to produce photo content to a full on commercial. Like we shot on a Red camera, which is like the highest grade camera that you can shoot on, renting out a studio space, having a set designer, having grip guys, having a full crew, you know what I'm saying? And having my product there, booking models from Wilhelmina. Like that was a big proud moment. And so I think what happens with me in terms of the way that the viewers see me, all the things that I have done for myself in my space of my career, my brand, I fought tooth and nail to get it. It wasn't no situation where somebody was like, oh, you know, here you go. Here's this opportunity. I had to fight. I had to prove myself. I had to shout who Andre was so they could get it and it would click in their brain. And then it was like, oh, dang, okay, I see who Andre is. So I think because of that, that's probably how I lead in most situations. And what I've learned is, obviously, every situation is not appropriate. My style of communication sometimes is not always appropriate. I'm aware of it, but now I've never seen myself outwardly like this. Every time I've been on TV, or especially like in reality, it was in a professional capacity. When I was on Housewives, I was styling. When I was on the Look All Stars, I was competing. When I was on Claudia Jordan, I was the expert. So this was the first time of me just being Andre.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, also I asked this to Jeremy also because he's another one that does a lot of other things as well. Do you feel like the show? Are you worried about how the show affects your image? Well, yeah, in the brand.
Not particularly, and I'll tell you why. Because I mean, this space is about hyper drama. We are essentially parallel to a Love and Hip Hop. So, you know, if you see somebody like a Tammy Roman or a Jocelyn, that people have done these wild things, and not to say that that's justified, but you can still move forward. People will buy into your brand as long as you have a well-established brand for them to buy into. Andre was an entity prior to Chasing LA. So Andre, the entity, could come through and navigate Chasing LA, however, and still be an entity afterwards. It hasn't stopped me from working. I haven't stopped getting booked. I haven't stopped doing wardrobe. Sometimes people have seen the content I worked on and they were like, oh my gosh, we love the show. It's wild. Like, I never seen this space, this side of you, but they know I can still get the job done. And I think the perception is that these platforms will break you. I mean, they may have the power to, but the general viewership are not the people that are offering me the jobs. So how can they stop what I got going on?
Period.
Okay.
All right. So now that you're a reality TV star, outside of more bookings, what has changed for you? Like in your life, what has changed since Chasing Reality or Chasing LA?
I would say, honestly, I'm a lot more of a recluse now. I don't, I'm like a little bit more of a recluse just because, like, I feel like being in this space, people do have strong opinions. I probably only stepped out like 2 or 3 times since the show has been airing or whatever. And I was kind of that way before, but I'm probably like a lot more like of a recluse now. Just sometimes, like, I don't want to necessarily have to go in to have conversations with somebody, because you do like, you know, in LA, if you go out to West Hollywood, like, those people are the people that watch it the most. And of course they want to come and they want to talk about it. And this stuff is encompassing. You shoot for 6 months, then it air for 3 months, and then you might have some time off. And if we get a season 2, then you back edit again. And in the meantime, you're doing interviews. You still have to promote the show. You still have to do whatever I'm a business owner. I still have to run my business. I do costume, just like, you know what I'm saying? I still have so many. So it becomes very like, it's like a vacuum. Yes, It's like a vacuum. And then you add the social media element, you know, be it good or bad. The comments, people DMing you, like, and don't dare go to the comment section. Like, you're done.
Right. Well, you seem like you're handling it well. I mean, you're the boss, and you seem like you're still going to be handling your business. So I don't even want to ask you what you feel is your worst moment on camera, but I will ask you the same question that we asked everybody else. Now, after watching the last episode, the first part of the reunion, you kind of volunteered this without having to be asked. But if there were a season 2, which cast members do you feel would serve best as viewers? I'm going to phrase it that way.
Let me say this. My worst moment, I would say, and I'm going to answer, I know you didn't officially ask, but I'm just going to tell you because I literally just thought about this last night. I think my worst moment that I just hated seeing myself was probably the situation with Alicia. I just did not like to see myself that way. Obviously, nobody want to, look at themselves be so angry. Physically, I did not feel like it was an attractive look for me. And overall, as a brand and an entity, I don't feel like it was an attractive look. So that was...
When she pulled the knife?
When she pulled the knife, yeah.
You look like you were drunk booze by that time too, as well.
Well, I might have been drunk booze by this time, like, because that was the funnest day I would say ever. Because obviously, I'm like literally outside. Like, I know that part was nasty, but we have been having so much fun, and that's what I'm telling you. Like, we have a lot of fun together because we had been at D Hawkins' house earlier in the day where he was getting the booty suction, and we were drinking champagne and eating food and having fun, and then we went. That was all the same day, exactly.
Oh, Lord. Wow.
And then so the thing was, and I wasn't gonna go to the finale because honestly, emotionally, I didn't feel ready. It was, again, weeks after. I still had a lot of raw emotions, a lot of anger and hostility about the situation. So I wasn't really in a space where I was like, oh, I'm finna go to the finale taping. I had actually already told Q that I wasn't coming.
Nope.
But what happened was, obviously I have a relationship with Mr. Ray, and I knew that he was going to be at the taping. They wanted me to come and be able to have a moment with him on camera because he was a friend of mine already. So I was like, you know what? Let me just go, which was probably not the best decision. Then we get drunk boots. The group is trying to have an intervention with me, and Jayla having a good time. Like, all of that was just a recipe for disaster. So I hated to see myself in their way, but it's just how the shit shook out.
I wanted to ask about that too, because at first
that was a funny moment during the show.
It was a moment because she's having fun. I'm like, was there a part edited out, or was that was just all?
No, that was really my statement that she was having fun. Like, so think about it in this way. It was 2.5 weeks ago that Jayla threw the drink in my face. They just had the conversation with me, and I storm outside, and the first person I see is Jayla. Okay. I'm crying in anguish, and she outside laughing and taking pictures. And I'm like, am I in the fucking Twilight Zone? Like, how are you having a good time? Because we thought everything was
resolved. Because the way that everything was like maneuvered, we felt everything was resolved. I'm like, okay, they're about to go to the next scene or whatever. Everything seemed to be okay, and then that I was, wow, okay, so.
And that's really how it happened. Like, when I was outside and everybody was outside, the party was over. I didn't know that though, because I was outside, and I was outside for like 15 to 20 minutes. I ain't gonna lie, I was ranting, raving, screaming, hollering, cussing because I was mad. And they was like, well, let's just go back in here and finish out. You know what I'm saying? But by the time I got up there, everybody was coming outside, and the first person I saw was Jayla, and she was taking pictures at the little having fun. And the fun triggered me.
You're having big fun. You're out there having big fun.
Big fun. And I'm big man.
Oh my goodness.
Okay. So you didn't answer my second question though. Who do you want to be?
What was the part?
Who do you want to be at home watching y'all on TV next season?
But I really want everybody to come back. I mean, I did feel a way about Alicia missing the reunion. I just feel like we're filming a show and everybody got shit going on. I have missed out on several gigs to meet filming obligations or things where, you know what I'm saying? Like, the reunion was one of those things where I had several projects that I was trying to shuffle around and make accommodations to get there. So I just feel like in those moments, as a team player, as an employee of the show, you should show up. And if you, from a technical standpoint, if she cannot meet that obligation, which is the final obligation, then I just felt like, what is the value of you being a part of this group? If that was just how I felt about it. If she come back, I'm not saying that the girl, I'm gonna be like, girl, you shouldn't be here, da 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 da. But as of the reunion date, I just feel like, why should you continue to be in the group? But outside of that, I mean, I think everybody should come back, because I think what will happen for us, it should be about the repairing of the group and how do we move forward. This year was all about the chaos and who's the HBIC and what's going on. So I think next year should be about the repairing. And after y'all see what happened at the final of the reunion, we already know what we're going to have to sort out next year.
Okay. Yeah, because it left us with a cliffhanger because Jayla had an announcement that she did something.
And when the receipts came out, Lord. Well,
we can't wait.
So outside of that, so what's next for you, Andre? Like, what projects are you working on now? What can we look for next from you during this off season of taping for you?
Well, I'm super excited because during the whole time of this, I costume designed my first feature-length film as the lead designer, and it's going to be on Lifetime. So I'm super duper excited about that. Yeah, so I can't wait for that to come out. That was an amazing experience. It's just another milestone in my costume and wardrobe career. So I'm super duper excited about that. I have my first magazine cover coming out, which I'm super duper excited about.
Congratulations.
It looks phenomenal. I got the mock-up of it yesterday, so I'm super excited about that. I'll be posting about that within the next couple days. I'm gonna release new merchandise. We just designed an exclusive piece for our for the website called the Dubai Robe Set. So you guys will see me posting and promoting that, because that's the one that I specifically designed and had input about, you know, how it was going to be. So I'm super excited about that. And honestly, I just want to continue to work, you know, in this downtime. I just want to take some time and kind of re-strategize the brand of Andre. Prior to COVID, I had a lot of exciting things on the horizon. So I want to kind of get back into that space and figure some of those things out. Like I said before, this vacuum will suck you in and it'll kind of throw you off your game. So I'm just trying to get back on my game.
Very good. We're very excited to hear it. I know you're going to do a phenomenal job. Can't wait to see what the roads look like. So while we're about to close out, what are some words of advice that you would give to other Black queer creatives who are like you, chasing their dream? What advice would you give from what you've learned?
I would say, I think what I've learned through my journey is that tenacity is the biggest thing. Like, you will have up years, you will have down years, you will have, you know, highs and lows for sure. But I think the reward is in staying the course. You know, sometimes I think we want things instantly. We want instant gratification. We, you know, we want to jump on Instagram tomorrow and be an influencer and get 1,000 likes and, you know, 2,000 comments, all of this stuff. But just stay at it, because every step, every action that you take is a furtherance of where you are going. And moments even like this with myself in Chasing LA, no moment can fully define you. You can always, you know, change the course. You can always change the direction. Just don't stop going forward.
All right.
Very good. Well, thank you so much, Andre. Where can people find you?
Follow me on Instagram, all about Andre, super modest and easy to remember, all_about_Andre. You can also shop my merchandise, shop him, shop HEM, like the hem of a garment. And just like I always say, I put the he in him, period.
Ooh.
Yeah, we love to see it. All right, you guys can also make sure you check out the second part of the reunion. I'm sure it's going to be airing on Thursday on YouTube.
Yes.
Chasing Reality and Chasing LA Brand. You can follow them on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. All right, thank you so much for joining us, Andre. So proud of you. Can't wait to see you next season. And thank you for stopping by the Darren Green Show.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. I'll be back.
Very good.
Yes, we love to see our guests come back. Thank you guys so much for listening to the show. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed the podcast and the convo. And until next time, I'm your host, Darren Green.
I'm Prince Derek Dahl.
And this is the Darren Green Show, signing out. All right, y'all.
Bye.